That's impossible light. This is the light source right over me. That's all the amplification. Flying repeatedly over. These are demons you see in the Ontario Police Department. Well, the documentation is published. This is all the Ontario Police Department would do over the car that I was sleeping in, over the museum that I was sleeping at, over the library that I would remain in all day long, over the bus that I would be on. Okay, this is what they're doing. They're engaged in ongoing patrolling. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is the communication of a threat, and that's why they're going to be disbanded. That's the state. There's no emergency and they're not going anywhere. This is light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity. This is demonic. Demonic at its core, but they're also engaged. This is the government that's engaged in what is terrorism, using helicopters to place somebody under surveillance. It's demonic. They're not going anywhere and they're not doing anything. They're stalking in helicopters. They get in helicopters and they fly back and forth all around all day long. And that amplification of volume, that immediacy of response with regard to what they know I'm doing on the internet as well. This is the surveillance that they're engaged in 24/7. They flew for 47 minutes in a circle in front of my apartment. You're going to remember that that's all they're doing is stalking. Okay, that was demonic patrolling. That was one that crossed path and then another that crossed path. They're doing it under the light source. Those are demons that stalk in the path in the sky space. This is the light source that's directly over my head. It's currently 11:27 a.m. The entity is engaged in group stalking. I want to Verizon came onto the grounds engaged in the pattern of conduct, coming into my office asking a question. It's just like every other resident you see, and I take a picture of the light source. It's just like every other building. They're all in the path, maintaining presence under the light source, which is, again, speaking to what is a specific environment, because the sun is not going to remain at one address for the duration of the day. And also the sun is not over Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard, for example, and also remaining over Alvarado Gardens, where it's also legally relevant and probative. It's exposing to you what is the condition of those that use helicopters to engage in what is surveillance. All right, that loud volume, that increase in volume, and that also one helicopter and another, these are demons that are pacing. When you're flying in a circle, that's a demon that is pacing. All right, as a group, it's accomplished in this manner. Okay, you see this in traffic, you see this pedestrians walking by. All right, you see this engaging in the airspace. This is demonic pacing. A demon that's acting individually, it flies in a circle, and this is the pacing conduct. It's in the engineer light. They just exhibited their demon possession again. This is impunity. They're doing it under the light source again, the unmistakable evidence, and that which nobody's going to forget that. What you're paying attention to, that obsession continuance. In the face of that, they're monitoring the documentation, and they are to date continuously engaging in that pattern of conduct. That's exactly what's informing their prosecution and federal laws to enforce against a government that is engaging in what the federal government now knows about, which is placing American citizens under surveillance using helicopters. And let me be clear, LA Fire is also, it's not just the demilitarization of the police based on the knowledge that state governments are placing it through these corrupt police departments, are placing American citizens under surveillance. They're abusing such resources, using them to psychologically torment and keep under surveillance. That's why I'm speaking for the demilitarization. Because of what the criminal system that's underway, and also it's also the fire departments. That's the same exact removal of such resources to abuse that. They're abusing the vehicles. That's what you're seeing with regard to the fire trucks and the ambulances and the police vehicles. They're demons that are engaging in relevant positioning, audible activity, and light activity using those vehicle lights. It's criminal facilitation and it's demonic activity. That's exactly what's going on with the use of the helicopters and airplanes. And that's the same demon possession that's exhibited when a demon is using resources of the government, by the way. You're just looking at Satan using a people that are in positions of government to engage in what is that demonic pattern of conduct. All right, it's currently 11:30 a.m. And again, like I stated, in this environment, Verizon arrived to engage in the P.O.C. This is impossible light. This is all impossible based on the maintenance of the light source. It's still here on the same side, and Verizon, going by the specific third party, I want to document because this is the environment that Verizon is arriving in, and they are monitoring, engaging in what is relevant positioning. The conversation is audible activity. It is vicarious presence at the crime scene. There's no exception. It doesn't ever, the pattern of conduct doesn't pause. Okay, so Verizon and that is Juan Fuentes, who arrived in engaging in the pattern of conduct in concert with the state. So I want to document that. It is currently 11:30 a.m. That's the entity engaging in what is the pattern of conduct. This is within what is the workplace. The entity is maintaining presence through all the people of the state who live on the hillside, who are pacing in traffic on Alvarado Street. It's not just the people of the state that are on the property in their apartment buildings, by the way. engaging in what is criminal presence, but also while they are, like you saw Jung Pak and Kum Lee coming out of their apartments and pacing all around in the engineered light. Okay, while I'm walking around, the light activity is being accomplished. That's the significance of keeping an engineered lit environment and a fake sun over the head of the target individual. So understand that. It's currently 11:31 a.m. and that's all hallmarks. And what is the ongoing pattern of conduct? It is 11:31. The entity is engaging in what is the demonic repetition, flying over again by helicopter. This is speaking to, like I said, they're not doing anything other than stalking. Stalking in helicopters, flying back and forth. That's audible activity. The light source is over my head, so understand this is light activity while I am being molested with engineer light. Crossing path on Alvarado is the demon possessed that are acting with simultaneity, and everybody that's in their apartments is maintaining criminal presence. Amplification is also crossing path. These are demons that are flying back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They're not going anywhere. This is called patrolling. Okay, these demons want to be heard and communicate a threat when it's amplified in volume. They're engaged in 24-hour surveillance in helicopters. You know that when you engage in what is flying in a circle, demonstrating your demon possession and your obsession with the targeted individual, the fact that you are stalking one whom is monitoring, and they're also doing so with regard to presence in that specific environment. Okay, so I want to be clear. This is the open, just like you saw for 47 minutes, just like you saw the Ontario Police Department also for 21 minutes, reminding you about what I documented in September of 2021. It's uploaded to the P.O.C. folder. This is what the Los Angeles Police Department is doing. It's unfortunate. They are going to be disbanded, and they're showing you why they need to be disbanded. They're literally letting you know that it's exactly what is deserving, while they're exhibiting, again, this is relevant positioning, amplification, audible activity, and the light source is over my head. Okay, it's 11:32 a.m. I will provide more evidence. There's a wealth of evidence. The entity is keeping the light source over Alvarado Gardens from the beginning to the end of the day. You saw that yesterday at 6:48 in the morning. The light source remains here. The people of the state engaging in what is acts of terrorism also. Engineer light moves across buildings while they're driving vehicles. They're driving an engineer light on Alvarado so they can stay in their apartments. They can stay off the property all they want. The people of the state are remaining engaged in the pattern of conduct. Living at the crime scene is unlawful presence. And the entity is acting in concert with the people of the state who you already know are inextricably linked to that pattern of conduct. There's no withdrawal from the P.O.C. There's no excuse from engaging in the P.O.C. There's no pause. They're monitoring now, and they also all know that they've been documented very heavily while I'm showing you what Starbucks, for example, in Ontario is engaging in, because it's what the people of the state in Los Angeles are engaging in. All right. It is currently, again, 11:33 a.m. This is P.O.C. That was demonic patrolling. So you have them flying this way and another one this way. They're listening to me recite to you what their demonic system is. The demon possessed engage in what is replicating that conduct as I'm exposing to you what is their condition and their tactics. Like I said, that's the mental psychosis. And so this is revealing, first of all, these are indeed demons, and these are demons that act out that truth. This is speaking to the threat also that the people of the state, that the government that is of this oppression, this dark spiritual oppression that they pose to the people, to ordinary American citizens, not the people, because the people are of that same condition. I'm speaking to, again, the hostility of the government, the entity that's of this condition. So in other words, speaking to the threat that they pose to you, they will further communicate that threat by engaging in more of it, by enhancing that threat. And that's exactly what you're seeing while I'm reciting to you the significance of their demonic behavior. And it's legally relevant because it's a government that's engaging in stalking, openly engaging in surveillance, the ongoing body of evidence, LAPD, LA Fire, whatever state actors, the target individual doesn't have to name them. They're being pursued day and night by helicopters. That's the pattern of conduct in the specific environment. All right. But the entity engages in a pattern of doing it through corrupt law enforcement agencies. You're corrupt because you're using helicopters and stalking somebody. You're corrupt, period. The entity is doing so, exhibiting demon possession. I'm letting you know the significance of the environment. I'm letting you know the significance of their movement in this environment. These are psychopaths. They're weirdos that actually want to do this. But because the entity wants to maliciously engage in what is keeping you under surveillance, they try to maintain an external appearance of normalcy. So I'll just walk by, and then another person will walk by, and then another person over there is walking by, looking here and there. We're all talking to each other. It's normal traffic. They're demons that are pacing all around. All right, in the specific environment. That's what the demon possessed are doing. And when you expose the fact of that condition, the demon possessed are posing a threat because they engage in more of that aggression, because they're hostile, that you know their secret. That's why the LAPD, besides the fact that they're engaged in obsessive stalking and monitoring, that's why they're replicating exactly what I'm telling you about. This is the demonic patrolling. And then I come out, I'm capturing video. They're engaging what is the openly engaging with crossing a path in plain sight. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is maintenance of presence in the path over here. She's going to federal prison. She's affiliated with the Matokeens, JEBKJC6. She's systematically present and she's going to federal prison. The Silverview townhomes, they're systematically engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring at the sex offense and terrorism, while LAPD is surrounding in relevant position. They're in relevant position as well. They're monitoring. All 59 units here are subject to what are federal prison because they live on the grounds, providing that intolerable level of assistance. I want you to pay attention to what you're witnessing, and the entity is engaging what is showing its light source more so. And this is not the operation of the weather. This is not a cloudy day. When you're looking at the light source that's rising and setting at one address, you are understanding what is a supernatural control, a demonic imitation of the natural environment. It's not some whim of the weather, and that's what you understand. Okay. So as I speak, the more I document, the brighter the light source gets. It's not going anywhere. The Ledesmas are creating light activity. All right. They're going to federal prison, and the entity is engaging in what is maintenance of path. This is where you saw that was Ryder, and those two that were on a lift, using that as a means of audible activity. This is criminal presence in the path right here, and Alvarado. So I just want to point all that out. It's currently 11:37 a.m. I'll remind you of what the entity is doing, which is maintaining the specific environment in an entirely different location. First of all, you already know the Ovid Family Community Library, 215 EC Street, and also Starbucks. You can pick one, 507 North Euclid Avenue. I'm at the Starbucks in Montclair at this time as well, maintaining the light source at the intersection of Ramona and Hope Boulevard in Montclair, California, where the entity was also stalking by helicopter in that specific environment. Also the Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard in Ontario, the entity maintaining a light source from 7:50 in the morning, 6 p.m. in the evening, where the entity was engaging in group stalking by the people of the state inside of that. The light source and engineered light inside, there's shadows appearing at the top of the walls, along the ceilings, which is the impossible light activity, while they're just doing nothing other than making coffee, which is the creation of what is noise in that environment. So you're understanding how that systematic engagement of the pattern of conduct is underway. All the entity is doing now is surrounding a community, okay? They're all implicated in the pattern of conduct, and everybody's going to be touched with the federal prosecution, while the entity is outwardly engaging in what is terrorism by stalking somebody who was documenting it also using helicopters. Okay, the light source is nonetheless here. The pattern of conduct is not stopping, and nor does any analysis of any stalker where you've established a pattern of conduct somehow stop based on the next day. All right, especially when you're dealing with a corrupt government. Okay, the light source remains here, whether it's some subdued appearance of the same thing. The entity is looking at my videos, and as I'm showing you, the light source is hovering over the Ovid Family Community Library. Let me be clear, the demon possessed don't want you to see that light source over the two addresses at the same time. So you're looking at literally what is still the light source, whether it's subdued or not, nonetheless. But this is speaking to obsession. You're not getting out of the P.O.C., but understand what their mindset is. It's very highly demented, but they don't want you looking at that vivid illustration of that brilliant appearance of that light source. Let me be clear, the object itself, subdued or brilliant, is never going to be present at the two at the same time ever, let alone at one or the other, because it's at the other for the duration of the day. And you're suggesting that that's the natural environment? Well, then there's never going to be a sun here. And then that's how you know that that wasn't the natural environment there. The two are not happening at the same time. Not even one are happening ever in the natural environment, ever. But you're documenting it. That's how you're understanding the pattern of conduct. All you do is document. You tie a government to that pattern of conduct, and that's establishing the P.O.C. But it's not just the light source. The entity is stalking in helicopters, stalking using their emergency vehicles, and they also exhibit the fact that they're stalking you with engineered light, which is what demons do, using what is light activity, and also light across surfaces, which you've seen the people of the state do on foot. You've seen them do it in their vehicles. You've seen them do it even bearing logos on their vehicles. That's the pattern, while the entity is providing corroborating evidence, stalking in helicopters and airplanes. And that's exactly what you've seen. All 59 units are going are going to federal prison, and all of this is going to be attributed to the people of the state. The government, this is the government that they're engaging in the pattern of conduct with, and every time the entity does a lap over the target individual in planes and helicopters, threatening their life, engaging in that psychological torture, which the people of the state are jointly engaging in it. Nobody's hiding from the P.O.C. They're all still monitoring, okay? And they all also know that they're being documented. They are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and that pattern of conduct continues, including while the entity provides ongoing evidence against all of them. And those are the breaks with regard to living at a crime scene, thinking that you will engage in what is targeting someone, snuffing out their life, because that's what you do when you place somebody under surveillance where they live. That's what you do with the government that's stalking day and night where the target individual lives. That's what you do when you place the light source over the target individual where they live for the duration of the day. That's the criminal purpose of that. and you're going to be met with the consequences of that. They're all monitoring while you're looking at LAPD in the state fly over a plane and helicopter. You can put it on Rita Vega. She's going to be prosecuted by it, threatening the life, engaging in psychological torture in concert with that government, showing what is an ongoing obsession and impunity. And that's exactly what she's cooperating with, the same government that engages in kidnapping. And while she's living at that crime scene, it is criminal facilitation. You can stay in your apartment. You can take out the trash, whatever they want to do. She likes to blink her vehicle lights because that demon knows exactly what I'm saying. 9AXL380. Pay attention to the video. Run it back. She just blinked her lights. Okay? That's P.O.C. And she is going to be prosecuted for what the government's doing in concert with her. It is currently 11:41 a.m. and this is P.O.C.